thanks for agreeing to have a chat with me today on Zoom. The purpose of today is to share a little bit of what it was like to work with me and SunBrand, and to help others that might be considering doing a brand positioning project with myself. What it's like really to get an experience and an idea from you that have been through it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Looking forward to sharing my thoughts and experiences with you, definitely.
Lovely. So I've got a few questions that we'll just go through, and just give me your honest opinions. That'd be great.
Excellent.
So firstly, if we go back to one of the first conversations that we had before the project started, tell me a little bit about the business challenges that you had before we engaged in doing the project.
Okay, so initially my frustrations were that we didn't seem to be attracting our target consumer for one reason or another. So no matter how much social media I did, looking to promote projects that we'd done, we seemed to still be getting not really the consumer that would be at our budget level and would really be sort of like respectful of where we were or where we want to be in the marketplace. So we positioned ourselves as to, mid to high end, but we're still, getting consumers coming through the front door that just have no idea between the differentiation between quality of product and also, obviously budget constraints then as well. So that was our frustration, that we were wasting a huge amount of time with consumers trying to educate them on that, but they just really weren't in our price range at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been the biggest challenge. And we have done lots of fantastic projects for clients that are in that higher bracket of where we want to be, so we know we can get them, but we seem to be struggling to get them every time. They just seem to be once every now and again, and not as regularly as we would like them to be. So that was the biggest challenge.
Lovely. Okay, so I sort of obviously described to you about what brand positioning was, and a little bit about sort of the approach and the way to really define what your brand stands for in the eyes of the consumer. Tell me a little bit about what that felt like when I was trying to describe that to you, sort of right in the beginning.
It was a real eye-opener, to be honest with you, because and I think one of the first things I said to you, I never realised that marketing was so in depth. I do marketing as part of my job role, but I've never been fully trained in any one specific area of marketing. So I've sort of been self-taught along the way. So to me, brand positioning was just sort of where we sat in the market. So in my head, we're mid to high end retailer of kitchens and bathrooms. But obviously initially talking to you made me realise at a very early stage that there's, far more to it than that. And as the journey, began and we started looking more in depth, it made me realise, just how naive probably I was into that side of things, definitely. So yeah, it was a real eye-opener at the start.
Mm-hmm. And so how was it sort of starting on the journey of doing the workshop then? How did you feel sort of embarking on it?
Yeah, really excited by it. Never done anything like it before. I found it quite challenging at some points. I found it quite difficult, if I'm being brutally honest, to convert myself from where I sit every day trying to put our story across to actually flipping that over to be on, to be in the shoes of the consumer. And really sort of like quite intrigued about all the delving that we did, going further and further, deeper and deeper, to ultimately get to our end goal. So I was really excited by it because I said I've never done anything like this before. So it was very insightful and very intriguing, definitely.
Brilliant, thank you. So looking at the sort of overall assessment of the workshops, obviously we did them online. over a series of 2-hour sessions. How did you feel it went?
Yeah, I mean, I can't obviously compare it to doing, you know, a day session or a couple of days session with you. But I think, you know, after some of our sessions, I felt quite drained because we were, you know, going quite deep with things. I was really having to dig deep to convert myself into the consumer role, as it were. But I actually think that I would have preferred to do it how we did it rather than a one-to-one, just purely on the basis that, you know, we had time between each sessions. It gave me a chance to digest what we'd done, and sort of think ahead about what might be coming next and where the whole thing was heading. So I think, you know, from a personal perspective, I would have found that more beneficial to do it that way than trying to absorb a lot of information all in one hit. You know, might be an age thing. As I get older, I can't, you know, take in so much all in one go. But I do think that it gave me a chance to digest and think, you know, ahead to the next session, which I think is a huge benefit, definitely.
Okay, so the next question, the framework that we worked on obviously started from the brand roots, working up to the market context, target consumer, a deep dive into the killer insight, which was a lot of steps to get there, looking at the brand values, the benefits and substance of the brand, and then culminating in the proposition, personality, and then finally the essence. So out of all those sort of topics and sessions, which do you think you valued the most?
I think I valued all of them, I would say that. But I think that the one that sort of hit home the most was the target consumer, because that was the biggest challenge for me in terms of getting my mindset into our target consumer and what they, you know, where they would be looking, how they would be researching, etc. So and that's really, I think, moving forward will give me a great sort of inspiration into how I can then write further content for websites, social media, etc. I'm going to be doing that from the perspective of the consumer and not the perspective of us, the business. So I think out of everything, that gave me the you know, the biggest insight, definitely, and the biggest help moving forward.
Excellent, brilliant. I think that was quite fun as well, isn't it? Because you start to build a real picture of them, and to see what the day in life and year in the life might be of them as well. So
absolutely, definitely.
And some of them obviously sometimes require quite a lot of explanation. So which out of all of them do you think was the toughest, or the ones that kind of needed a bit more
you know exactly
unpicking?
Definitely killer insight. I found that really challenging, and I think, you know, when you gave me my homework to do in preparation for the next session, and I sat there for a long time chewing it over, not knowing whether I was approaching it in the right way, and then I emailed you and said, this is what I've come up with, I'm not sure if it's right, and then you sent back and guided me along the right lines, and as soon as you'd done that, I could see the error of my ways, and again, you know, flipping over to the other side, so to speak. So that that was the most challenging, but then I suppose at the end of it, one of the most rewarding as well.
Definitely.
See the results from it. So,
and I think that will be the thing that sits with you for years and years to come, because you'll really go back to that, you know.
Definitely.
So now it's all finished. We've come to the end. What impact do you think it's going to have on your business?
A huge impact, because I think having gone through this lockdown period, it's given us a huge amount of time for reflection. And rather than going back to a business that, you know, we were struggling to meet, you know, or to get to our target consumer. So a feeling that rather than going back to a business and not really quite knowing where we were going wrong and what we needed to do to move forward and to change things, I'm now going back, with a massive positivity, that I know exactly what we need to do and where we need to change things. And I don't mean that just on almost like a marketing side of it. I mean across the board as well, in terms of looking at our whole business model and where we need to be and what we need to be doing. So huge impact moving forward, definitely.
Brilliant. Excellent. And what do you think will be, looking back on it, sort of the biggest, the one takeaway that you've taken from this project when you look back?
Just, I think going back to the target consumer thing again, and realizing that you can go out on social media all day long, but if you're not sending out the right message to the right consumer that you're trying to target, then it's pointless. It's a waste of time. There's loads of new content that I can work on, just to make sure that, as you said in one of your sessions, that we are the first choice every time for when the consumer's looking for a new kitchen or a new bathroom.
Brilliant. So it wouldn't be my kind of session if I wasn't going to close on a question that was about sort of my audience, and you're a customer of mine. So and it's very important to reflect on how things impact people personally. So reflecting on the work that we've done and achieved, what did you get out of it personally?
Personally, I got an extreme amount of positivity, and it's inspired me to change things, and to go back to work in a completely different frame of mind. So I think, going back to lockdown as well, could have so easily spiraled into, don't know what to do, where we're going, go back to sort of same old drudge, etc. But it's sort of, it's like a breath of fresh air to actually be keen to go back in and start implementing these things straight away. And although, it's a fairly big job to do some of it, I know that the benefits of doing it, will pay off in time, and we just keep chipping away until we get there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you. I mean, it's been fantastic to have a chat with you and to listen to your reflections and to your personal views about it all. So I think it's been so much fun as well doing the project, and
loved every minute of it, Charlotte, and I can't thank you enough for your help and support. I would have, I know I reached out to you and you came back to me, and we've worked together, and I know that for a long time ahead, you've given us the roots to move forward. You've given us the grounding to from which that we can work from to move forward and make things much, much better. So I can't wait to get started.
Brilliant. I look forward to seeing your amazing growth plans and everything that comes in the future, and all the best with your business. So, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Okay, bye.
Bye.